Good morning. My name is Mrs. Owens, and I teach a brilliant group of third graders at Sequoyah Claremore. I am so excited to be with you today. I was just wondering, what do you think about my glasses? Do you think they make me look really cool? Am I rocking my glasses, or do you think they make me look a little silly? Well, today I want to teach you an ELA lesson about a bird that wears really big glasses. Now, these really big glasses, they don't have any lenses in them, so I really can't see you very well, but I have my own glasses. I'll trade them out. Oh, I can see much better now. Well, today I want to share with you, like I said, a story about a bird that wears really big glasses. But first, I'd like for you to do a little bit of thinking. I want you kind of to engage your brain a little bit. So, I want you to think about some questions. If I ask you, would you rather have one really great friend or 10 just okay friends? Think about that for a minute. One really great friend, best friend, BFF, or 10 okay friends. If somebody's there with you this morning, tell them what you think, and then later maybe you can discuss your reasons why you felt like you did. What about this one? Would you rather have all the same interests as your friends, everybody liked the same thing, or maybe you would like some friends that had some differences? Think about that for a minute. If you like football, do you only want friends that play football, or maybe you would like to have friends that played soccer or skateboarded or something like that? Think about that. Here's another one. Would you rather dress and look like your friends or have your own unique style? Would you like to stand out from the crowd and be different? Or do you want to be like everybody else? That's just some things for you to think about. Well, today, as we share the story of this little bird with the big glasses, we're going to listen to the story with intention. And what I mean is, I want you to listen for a purpose. We're going to investigate the idea of theme, the academic word theme. Now, to discover theme, well, first, I probably should tell you, in case you've forgotten, that theme is the lesson or message that the author is teaching you. It's what you're learning from what you read. Now, when we think about theme, we have to use our imagination and our inferencing skills, because here's the interesting thing about theme. It's rarely ever stated in the story. We're going to use all of our investigation skills, all of our inferencing skills, and we're going to draw to a conclusion a lesson that the characters in the story might learn. Themes oftentimes will evoke emotions in us. Themes will make us feel happy or sad. One writer even said it's kind of that gut feeling that you get when you read a story. Here's some things that we might keep in mind as we're looking or listening for the theme. To identify the theme, let's look at these questions. What are the characters learning about their life? What are they learning about life? What life experiences are they having? How can this book make me a better person? How can it change me and make me a better person? And what life lesson is being taught? Now, here's one thing I would tell you about theme. Two different readers can read the very same book, and they can come up with a different theme out of the book. And you might say, well, how's that possible? It's because of our schema. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different life experiences, and whatever you bring to the table oftentimes affects what you see out of a book. But it's okay. It's okay. Books have multiple lessons and multiple things that can be taught through them. So, with that said, I'm going to get a little closer to you so you can see my really cool book. It's titled Nerdy Birdie. This is Nerdy Birdie. Isn't he cute? His glasses are too big. His wings are too small. Now, I need to stop for a minute. Back in Mrs. Owens's class, way back in August, we talked about what a good reader would do when they read a book. And we made what we called a reading salad. And that's where we would read some text. We would actually touch the text. And then we would pause and we would think. And we would draw things that we were familiar with when we read. So if I read this, I might say, hey, his glasses are too big. I wear glasses. I wonder if my glasses are too big. Or I look at his wings are too small. I wonder, can he fly very far with little bitty wings? Or can he go very high with little bitty wings? We connect with our text, and that's the way that we become a better reader. We will remember then what we read. There was a word that we used when we made that reading salad in August. It was a big word. Does anybody happen, if you're from Mrs. Owens' class, you might remember. It was a great big word. Was it metacognition? Yeah, it was. It was metacognition. It was that thinking about my thinking. And that's what a good reader will do when they read. So always pause and think. Here's Nerdy Birdie. He's allergic to bird seed. When all the other birds are hanging out together at the bird feeder, Nerdy Birdie is scrounging for breadcrumbs. I had a little boy in my class this year with some allergies. I wonder if he ever felt different because he had allergies and maybe couldn't have something that the other kids had. Something to think about. Oh, look at that. Eagles, cardinals, and robins are the cool birdies. Now, that makes me happy because I'm an eagle, and I'm a cool bird, according to this book. Look at that eagle. This eagle, he has wind tunnel tested head shape. He is aerodynamic, and he has impressively sculpted chest muscles. Wow. And he's got abs of steel. I'm feeling pretty good about being an eagle. That's my school mascot. Over here is a cardinal. Now, I think there's a school that's local that might have a cardinal as their mascot too. Let's see what they say about him. He has a glossy red pompadour. What in the world do you think a pompadour is? Well, look closely at the clue that the illustrator gives you. What do you think? You think that pompadour is probably those feathers that stick up? I think you're right. What do you think we might wear that would be similar to a pompadour? Do you think it might be a hat? Could I put big feathers on my hat if I wanted to? Sure, I could. Well, this cardinal has a glossy red pompadour, and notice the other two attributes that the writer decided to share was that he has a glossy red attire and glossy red tail. That just goes to tell me that I think that the red part of the cardinal must be a pretty dramatic thing, and I've seen red cardinals before, and they are beautiful. Now, here's another bird. This is the robin. The robin has beady eyes with superior worm vision. And he's got this worm-fed physique. Look at that chest and belly. He is proud of that. But down here it says he's got feet, but they don't have anything to do with worms. I wonder then if he doesn't scratch in the ground to get worms, wonder how he gets his worms. I don't know. Let's see. There's 3 things that an eagle is good at. He's really good at hunting. Look up here. The illustrator says he's hunting a rhinoceros. And here, he's also really good at fishing. This one, he's fishing. He caught a shark. And down here it says he's really good at football. Woohoo! The cardinal, on the other hand, look at this cardinal. It says that he sings like a rock star. Now, if you were in Mrs. Owens' class, you would have been getting up out of your chair and coming to my desk and telling me, Mrs. Owens, I hear figurative language. And you would be exactly right. It says he sings like a rock star. Now remember, when we compare two unlike things like a bird and a rock star, and we use the word like, we're using a particular kind of figurative language. Do you happen to remember what that was called? Think hard. How about simile? That's exactly right. They used the simile in this book. Love figurative language. If you were in my class, you'd have been running to my desk to get a piece of gum because we celebrate figurative language. Now, the cardinal, he was also really good at posing. He showed off those muscles, and he was very good at attracting fans. So those were his attributes. But here's that robin again. Now, you remember that he had that worm-fed physique. Well, listen to his attributes. He's really good at picking on worms, insulting worms, and eating worms. Now, you know, we posed a question. I wonder how he gets all those worms because he doesn't use his feet. Get a load of him. What do you think he uses? Do you think he uses that beak? I do. I think he uses that beak. I have one of these in my front yard, in a tree in my front yard, and I watched him very closely now that I've been reading this book a lot and practicing for my TV debut. He's really, really cool, and he looks very much like this one. Now, Nerdy Birdie, which was the main character the story's written about, he's good too, but he's good at some different things. Nerdy Birdie's really good at reading. Oh, that makes a teacher's heart just flutter because we love kids that love to read. But he's also really good at playing video games. Well, that's okay. Lots of kids like video games. And he's also really good at reading about video games. So I guess Nerdy Birdie likes to spend a lot of time in front of his screen. The eagles, the cardinals, and the robins, they don't care about reading. Oh, that kind of makes me sad a little bit. The eagle was talking to Nerdy Birdie, and Nerdy Birdie said, "Hey, guys, I just read the coolest book." And the eagle said, who cares? And the cardinal, he said, bookworm. And the robin, I eat bookworms for breakfast. Oh, well, that wasn't very nice, was it? I'm feeling a little sad about my eagle friend. And then he said, "Hey, guys, I just defeated the Earthworm King in World of Wormcraft." The eagle, who cares? The robin said, "Nerd." The cardinal said that. And the robin said, "I eat real earthworms, not digital ones." Wow. My cool birds have kind of taken a turn for the worse. Well, one day, it says eagle flew off to hunt. And cardinal flew off to impress his fans. And robin flew off to terrorize worms. Now, I want you to see what the illustrator did in this, because I know some of you, your gift is drawing and art, and you like all of really cool things like that. Look how cool the illustrator showed us that these birds had then flown away. What do you notice? All you see are their feet. Notice that they've flown away, except for our little Nerdy Birdie down here at the bottom, and he was all by himself. But he said one thing was really clear. It was awfully lonely not being a cool birdie. But then he hears something off in the distance. Why do you hang around with them? He heard somebody speak. They don't even like you. Well, he looked up, and look what was on the power lines close to him. It was another little bird. He wore glasses, too. They weren't circular like Nerdy Birdies. They were little rectangles. And he said, "They don't even like you." "But they're so cool," said Nerdy Birdie. Trying to be cool is exhausting," said the new bird. "You should hang around with us." And Nerdy Birdie looks at him and says, "Us? Looks like you're one bird." But to his shock and surprise, look, us. After all, there's always room for another Nerdy Birdie. Look at all the nerdy birdies up there. They look a lot like our friend. Their glasses were too big. Their wings were too small. At least half of them had birdseed allergies. They all liked to read, and most of them liked to play World of Warcraft. Look, he has his lightsaber. They were exactly like Nerdy Birdie. Wow, they had all the same interests, and they dressed like him, and they looked like him. And that just sounds like a perfect friend, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? And then he realized something. There were way more nerdy birdies than cool birdies. And now they were all his friends. Doesn't that sound like a neat place to end the story? Does, doesn't it? That's kind of like a happily ever after. Nerdy Birdie got a lot of friends and everybody's happy. But it didn't end there. No, it goes on. Eagle didn't have any friends because he out hunted by himself. And Cardinal, he was always showing off. He had no friends. Know why? He was always showing off. Nobody wanted to be around him. And Robin, he was just obsessed with worm hunting. He didn't have any time to make friends. But one thing was clear. It was awfully lonely being a cool birdie. Oh, well, I thought at the beginning of the story, it really sounded like the cool birdies were what I wanted to be. But I might be changing my mind. But then a new birdie moved into the neighborhood. Now get a load of the new birdie. Do you happen to know what that is? Look at that bird. He has a little lunchbox down here at the bottom. It says official Hello Birdie lunchbox, and it's got bones sticking out from the bottom of it. That is an odd looking creature. The cool birds were unimpressed. Ooh, there's a big word. It's got a prefix, fix, and a suffix, and it means not impressed. The new bird said, "Hey, guys." And the eagle said, "Ugh, she gives me the creeps." And the cardinal said, why does she always wear black? It's so depressing. I'm wearing black today. She eats what? They were all disgusted with the new bird. And look what they did. Can you tell without even reading a word? What did they do? They flew away. The cool birdies flew away, and they left Vulture alone. So what kind of bird was it? It was a vulture. Not a real attractive one, I might add. And Vulture hears this little voice that says, "Why would you want to hang around with them?" Now, doesn't that sound like the same thing that little bird said to Nerdy Birdie a few pages back? Yeah, exact same phrase. Being cool is exhausting. You should hang around with us. And if we look at the highline wires, we see our friend Nerdy Birdie. And he's reaching out to this vulture. Vulture did the same thing. Us? With a question mark? He just saw this one tiny little bird up there. Us! After all, there's always room for another Nerdy Birdie. Right, guys? And he looks over his shoulder at his friends, and he says, "Hey, here's another friend to join us." Hold it. Hold it. Where are her glasses? Where is her lightsaber? And have you heard what she eats? Black. She is definitely not one of us. Nerdy Birdie was so confused. But there's always room for another Nerdy Birdie, right? And there was a question mark after that. That's the problem. She's not a Nerdy Birdie. She's just weird. Oh, gosh. Nerdy Birdie looked at his flock of friends. There is a word for Mrs. Owens' third graders. We learned flock. That was a particular kind of noun in Shirley English, a collective noun. It was followed by that prepositional phrase. Remember that? So he looked at his flock of friends. The telephone wire was packed with them. There was all of his friends, his so-called friends. He looked at the new bird sitting there alone, and one thing was clear. It was awfully lonely being alone. This is Nerdy Birdie. His glasses are too big. His wings are too small. This is Vulture. She wears contact lenses. Well, she does sort of have glasses, doesn't she? But she has contact lenses. And her wings are enormous. Vulture eats dead things. That's why she had a bone in her lunchbox. Nerdy Birdie does not. Remember what Nerdy Birdie eats? Breadcrumbs. Nerdy Birdie likes video games. Woohoo! But Vulture, no, not so much. Nerdy Birdie and Vulture don't like all the same things, but they really like each other. Think back. Did you really want to be like all of the other friends? If you ever need a friend, you can hang around with them. Look how cool the illustrator showed you the difference in their sizes. After all, there's always room for another birdie. And look who shows up at the end of the book. It's a huge bird. It's got great big feet. It's got purple legs and little green feathers that hang down. I wonder what kind of bird that is. I don't know. Now, if we think about Nerdy Birdie and Vulture's friendship, we know that they are unique. Our expectation in our classroom, number 1, says we will value one another as unique and special individuals. And I think that's what Nerdy Birdie and Vulture did. Now, let's quickly get back to our lesson on theme. We'll finish this up. Remember that theme, we had to talk about things that the characters would learn about life. And you might come up with single words. If you come up with a single word, it might be a word like kindness or acceptance, maybe even differences. We might call that a theme seed. But what we want to try to do is make a theme statement. It has to be a complete sentence. It's got to follow those 5 Shirley rules of subject, verb, complete sense, capital letter, end mark. It's got to have all those things. It has to tell what the characters learned in the text. And then it has to have evidence. Ooh, everybody say evidence. Good. That is so important. Remember how hard we worked at proving what we said. We couldn't just make something up, or I think we had to base it on evidence. So what do you think about this theme statement? Individuals can look different and have different interests and still be good friends. What do you think about that? Do you think they could? I think they could. Here's something I'd like for you to do. Something when you have some spare time. I want you to do what the author did in the book. And I want you to come up with 3 characteristics that are really good about you. Now, I know that you have multiple characteristics that you could write about yourself. Pick 3 that you're pretty proud of, and write them down. And then where the smiley face is, draw yourself a self-portrait. Then kind of compare that. Think about somebody that you're really close to and just see, I wonder if my friends are just like me or maybe a little different. And then to take the learning a little deeper, here's some things I'd like for you to try. I really like to watch Jimmy Fallon at 10 o'clock. Now that I don't have to get up really early, go to school, I like to watch a talk show. I'd like for you to maybe role play a talk show and let somebody interview the other characters, like interview the eagle or get the point of view of the robin or the cardinal. Create a talk show and video it. It'd be really fun. Or just rewrite the story from a different character's point of view. That's always fun to do. Or continue the story. Who was that big bird at the end with the purple legs and the green feathers? I bet it was somebody really cool in your imagination. You know, this has been a lot of fun to talk about differences and likenesses and theme and understand a little bit about the story. You know, friends are something that we should value, and trust. You know, when I put my red glasses on and I look like this at the beginning, I have to wonder, did you think that lady's kind of wacky? Or did you think, oh, that might be kind of fun? Don't overjudge somebody on the way that they look until you've had a chance to get to know them. Just like Nerdy Birdie and the vulture, they certainly didn't look the same, did they? They certainly didn't have the same interest or the same characteristics. But in the story, we learned that you don't have to be just like everybody else. You can be different and still be great friends. I'd like to leave you with something, though. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints on your heart. Footprints on your heart. Think about that. Only true friends will leave footprints on your heart. I can just see that vulture has little bitty Nerdy Birdie footprints all over his heart. And I don't know if Nerdy Birdie has great big vulture footprints on his heart. Probably so. It's been great seeing you, and it's been great being back in my classroom. I'm so excited. You guys have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next Thursday.